A drive through Hampshire takes you through history and past a special site in England's storied past, waiting to come back to life. This is Laverstoke Mill.
For more than 200 years, Laverstoke Mill made high-quality paper.
Not just any paper, but handmade rag paper, so refined it was the sole creator of all the banknotes for England.
Between 1719 and the 1950s, and throughout that time it was owned by one single family, the Portal family, and handed down from generation to generation. What made it famous was the fact that really early on the Portal family won the contract to make the paper that the Bank of England used to print its banknotes on. That made the Portal family extremely rich, and it put Laverstoke Mill on the map.
The location for the mill was a natural. Mr. Portal built his mill so the pristine River Test, filled with fresh watercress and renowned for trout fishing, would flow right through it, and its current would be captured for power.
The sound you can hear is the River Test. It's running right underneath my feet. This is the mill house, and for more than 1,000 years there's been a working mill on this site.
It was recorded as a corn mill in the famous Domesday Book of 1086. The grand survey by William the Conqueror to assess all his newly claimed land.
They would have used the water from the Test to power the wheel that would have ground the corn. When it became a paper mill, the Test took on an even greater significance. Because they needed really high quality water to make the paper that went on to make these banknotes, they used the crystal clear chalk stream water from the Test to do that for them.
The mill expanded with the growth of the British Empire. During Queen Victoria's reign, it rose prominently, and Laverstoke Mill began making banknotes for England's newly acquired lands. As Victoria pushed farther to include exotic and faraway India, the mill created India's banknotes as well. At this time, history connects England, Laverstoke Mill, and gin. English gin gained popularity when the classic gin and tonic was created in British colonial India. Tonic contained the quinine needed to fend off malaria, and its bitter taste was smoothed by the flavourful gin. To evoke this period of significant gin history, Bombay Original and Bombay Sapphire were given their names, and Queen Victoria, Empress of India, was emboldened on the label. Back home in England, Laverstoke Mill reaped the bounty and hired the most prominent architects to build a showcase for banknote production.
Now, the Victorians loved their buildings to reflect the glory of what was either being made in them or the services that were being offered in them, and Laverstoke Mill is no exception to that. It is a fine example of Victorian Industrial Revolution architecture.
This is the most imposing building on site. This vast Edwardian structure is 15 metres from floor to ceiling and is surrounded by glass windows on 3 sides. This would make for us the perfect still house.
Bombay Sapphire has a special distillation process using 4 rare Carterhead stills, one in continuous operation since 1831. 10 botanicals are vapour-infused to create its unique and smooth taste. Visitors can learn about this in the Blue Room, a brand experience on London's Bankside. But viewing actual production is off-limits to the public as it's currently produced by a third party. Revitalised, Laverstoke would be a beautiful place to locate a distillery and provide a home for this natural, elegant brand. Visitors to Laverstoke could have much to see of the brand's prominence and the mill's hidden secrets.
This is really great. This is where they used to store the money for the Bank of England. Let me show you inside. And this is the vault. For more than 200 years, every pound, every banknote used by the British Empire came from this vault. And we'd like to see this as a key part of the visitor experience.
Many visitors, including dignitaries, have visited Laverstoke Mill during its 200-year history.
There were 5 royal visits in total during the history of the mill. One of them in 1923 involved George V, and there are some wonderful archive photographs of the hundreds of people that came out to welcome him and enjoy the fact that he was coming to celebrate what was going on in the mill.
This is the exact same spot that King George V came to when he came to inspect the Laverstoke Mill site.
The papermaking activities that went on at Laverstoke Mill meant that people wanted to read about it and they wanted to write about it, including the famous Victorian novelist Charles Dickens, who actually paid a visit to the mill site, and he wrote about it in his periodical all the year round in an article called The Story of a Banknote. Here is made, and has been made since its first adoption by the Bank of England, that beautifully crisp, thin, tough, elaborately watermarked and musically rustling paper, on which are printed those promises to pay on demand which are received with implicit faith in almost every corner of the civilized world.
Laverstoke Mill has an undeniable role in establishing the stature of England, and its fine collection of Victorian structures solidifies its standing in architectural prominence. But it's not just the unique history that draws us. The setting of the site, nestled in a beautiful river valley, astride a chalk stream famed for its purity, and surrounded by traditional pastures, has a natural elegance and beauty befitting Bombay sapphire. Hampshire and Laverstoke Mill provide the natural setting and natural elements for a precious gem of a brand, as it provided for something precious once before.